I am God Apophis. I am the wizard with computers. I decided I'd make another video because my last video, it cut off. It's the first time a video is cut off on me because I've run out of storage space on my phone. Because it's the first time in my life I've run out of storage space on my phone, pretty much. Because I never take photos and I never record videos. Well, until now, until the last 12 months, the last year. Anyway, I am the wizard with computers. So that's what I'm going to call this video. Because, well, I would recommend you go watch my last video. I worked in IT. I said about my story about how I worked in IT and my situation with women and the bad shit that happened to me when I worked there, when I worked in IT at the NHS, and how I left. How I left the place, and yeah, it was terrible. So what happened to me, that's an interesting saying, isn't it? A lot of people, you've heard that saying, oh, he's a wizard with computers, he's a whiz kid, he's a wizard. Yeah, well, I'm God, and I use computers like a wizard. I am a wizard with computers, and when I say that, I mean, okay, so, I learned how to build computers, fix computers. I was a network engineer. I used to do infrastructure support for IT networks. But the real thing is that I can use computers to do magic, like real magic. And that's a subject that people really don't understand. They don't know what the fuck that is. Well, that's the thing. Art, literature, words, everything's magic, okay? So, stories, magic. Art, magic. Films, music, it's magic. And art is magic. Why do you think some people are drawn, they're drawn towards doing art? It's magic. I understand it better than anybody. I'm God. I've learnt it on my own. I've got lots of magic books that really I've never read. I've never read anything about them really. I've learned about magic through my experience with the world, because the world is constantly doing witchcraft against me. And when I see it, it's like a reflection. Because see, when someone does something, when magic is being done, it creates a reflection. It creates, because of things like words and names and situations, it creates a type of reflection. And magic leaves when people do magic, there's a trail of information being left, in a sense, especially if you're thinking about, things like television and world events and YouTube videos, internet videos, or, what I do, I use social media to do magic. Facebook, X. I haven't used Instagram yet. Really. I think I have an Instagram account, but I never even go on it. I probably should start using it at some point. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that I am a wizard with computers. I use it to mix ideas. I use it to mix art. And you see, I know how magic energy is transferred from one thing to another. And so what I do is, the thing is, I'm God. And when people do witchcraft, what they're doing is they're trying to steal power from me. And so what I do is I look at all the witchcraft that's being done, and I'm taking it and I'm doing my own magic with the witchcraft that's being done against me. So I'm repurposing that witchcraft to my advantage, and it's powerful. And I figured this out over the last few years. The last 3 years I've really been, it's been about, I think it was the beginning of 2022. That's when I really started to work on this. My Facebook page, I started it at the beginning of 2022, I think. It might have been 2021. Actually, was it 2021? Yeah, it was it might have been 2021 perhaps. January. And I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of posts on my Facebook page. And it's all public. My Facebook page is in my name, which is Grant Salvin. It's spelled GrantSalvin. Grant Salvin. Grant Salvin. Please, I'm a bit tipsy. I've had a few drinks between my last video and now. I've had a couple of glasses of absinthe, and that shit's strong. It really is. Anyways, I'm rolling a cigarette. I really need a smoke right now. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep well tonight. Anyways, so my situation with IT. So how did that all happen? Well, I went to a very well-known boarding school. From the age of 13, I think. I went to Charterhouse. I started there in 2001, just before September 11. It was about a week before September 11th. And that's an interesting story. I've already spoken about it many times. I'm God. It has to do with me. If you don't believe me, well, it's your funeral. To be honest, that's how it's gonna go. I'm the snake on the pole. I'm the serpent on the pole. That, if you don't listen to me, you don't understand me, well, fuck, you're fucked. The vipers and the snakes, they're coming after you. Okay? That's how it is. I went to boarding school, and my grades were good at first, and then I went downhill. I started smoking and drinking and doing drugs. At the age of 16, I was going to an international college, and I wasn't really going. I was going there for half of my lessons. I'd have 2 in the morning, and then I'd have like 3 hours break. And in those 3 hours, I'd usually get drunk at the pub, or I'd be getting stoned, and then I wouldn't make it to my last 2 lessons, which were usually economics and physics. And the teachers were shit. So, that was the age I started clubbing and going to bars. So, and I had a very bad home life with my crazy psychopathic mother and other people. yeah, it was a bad situation for me. So, and I had a 32-year-old girlfriend when I was 16. I was clubbing every weekend. I used to be well known on the clubbing scene in Brighton. Um, I once did a photo shoot for a magazine in Brighton, actually, for Juice magazine. And I even got a really nice picture in Source magazine as well. I still have a copy of it somewhere, actually. I took a picture of it and posted it on Facebook as well. Anyway, I used to know, lots of DJs, and I used to DJ myself. I had £3.5 worth of DJ equipment, so, I was always skipping college to just go home, get stoned, have some ecstasy, and spin some tune. Seriously, that's what I was like when I was a teenager, and I was doing ketamine. Yeah, yeah. So I was doing a lot of drugs when I was younger. I don't. Yeah, it's been the last time I had anything was a long time ago. Let's put it that way. I don't even have any friends. I don't have any family. But what happened to me was, I was a teenager, and my education it went to shit, basically. Like my A-levels, my AES level exams, I got like a C, 2 E's, and a U. I actually fell asleep in one of my exams. It was a mathematics exam, I think. And what I did was, I ended up doing an IT course called Just IT. So I went to Liverpool Street in London to do this IT course, and I stayed with a woman, a family friend called Chan, and I stayed with her in Forest Gate in London, and I was doing this course for several weeks, or maybe it was like 13 weeks or something. I did an IT, so I did I did CompTIA A+. That's a certification I did actually get at some point. That was the first one that I passed. I did Linux Plus. I studied the course, so I studied Linux Plus. I did CCNA. I did Windows XP, Windows. What the heck was it? Windows Server 2003, maybe, was it? Active Directory stuff, and I studied that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. So I did those, and I dossed about for ages, and eventually I got a CompTIA A+ certification, but that was probably like 2 years later. And I actually did I did a work placement with a place called Dr. Tech, and I got put to them through the job centre. They put me to this agency called Agora, and then they signed me up with Dr. Tech, which is this repair shop. It's a PC repair shop, and they sell computers as well. Asus computers, right? And I worked there for a couple of months, and they didn't pay me anything. They were real stingy bastards, and it was my first real job, really. Well, it was my first office kind of job placement. Anyway, I worked there, and I learned a lot fixing desktop computers. It was quite fun, actually. I enjoyed the fixing computers part of it, but the people, not so much. Didn't like them at all. And IT jobs were really hard to come by in Brighton, which is where I used to live. I used to live in a council flat in Brighton, and I didn't want to work in a bar. It didn't suit me really. And I can't think of anything. I worked as a telesales person. I lasted about a week, and then I thought, fuck it, I left. It was fucking awful. And I think I worked for Royal Mail for a Christmas period as well, and yeah, well, that was only temporary. But I got my job. I ended up going to Bristol, and I got my first IT job working for Fujitsu, and it was the service desk for Lloyd's banking group. So Lloyd's TSB, Halifax. It was like Cheltenham and Gloucester as well, I think. So supporting people in bank branches with their particular hardware and stuff like that. Cash, teller machines and like scanner, printer, voucher print, like check. I don't know what the fuck they're called anymore. Anyway, I did all that shit. I did head office stuff as well, and eventually I escaped there, and I left there when they moved to London. Oh, sorry, no, they moved to Halifax. They moved to Leeds. Yeah, they moved to Leeds, and I went back to Brighton, and I managed to get a job with the NHS. It was the service desk. It was called the Sussex Health Informatics Service, and that was right after I passed my. I think I passed my first. It was like half CCNA, which is called a CCENT, which is basically half a CCNA, and then I did the second half to complete my CCNA. So anyway, I worked there, and then I went to I went from I was working in the Sussex Health Informatics Service. That was in Durrington, which is West Sussex, and then I got moved to Brighton, Royal Sussex County Hospital, and I worked there, and I was a service desk analyst, and then I got promoted to third line support, doing IT network support, server support, infrastructure support. So yeah, that was I always liked tinkering with computers. I always liked building my own computer and making the most of it, really. Just learning things as I go, pretty much. So yeah. But really, the fact is, I'm God. I'm literally the most powerful manifester that exists. And a lot of people would call someone like that a wizard. And I am a wizard that is surrounded by computers. Yeah, it's interesting because, for the last year, I've been using a Raspberry Pi as my main computer. I've got a Raspberry Pi connected to a £1,500 computer monitor, which is 42 inches. It's a computer monitor. It's an Asus computer monitor. It's a 42 inch or 41.5 inch. Some say it's 42, some say it's 41.5. I got that with my desktop computer, which I've got a 4090. I've got an i9 Intel processor, probably 64 gigs of memory, and I've got a 500 quid motherboard in there. I mean, yeah, it's a very expensive computer, and I haven't switched up. I haven't used it for about a year. It's got Windows and Linux on it. But I've just been running my Raspberry Pi for an entire year now, because, well, I'm so busy, like, learning about magic and how I deal with the world. It's an interesting situation for me, If I wasn't doing this, I probably would just be sitting playing Street Fighter 6 all day, probably. Or some other game, like a nice, like Cyberpunk or something. That's actually a game I'd like to complete, actually, Cyberpunk. I'm sure I'd enjoy that. But anyway, yeah. I worked with some I worked with some pieces of shit. There were some people I liked, but to be honest, that's the thing. I'm God, and those people don't really love me. That's the thing. I mean, I got shown some kindness by some people, but ultimately, the thing is, they don't understand who I am. They don't understand I'm God. I know I have quite a strange history. I do. That's the thing, I've been attacked with witchcraft ever since I was a young child. Ever since I was born. And before I was born, people have been doing witchcraft against me since forever. It seems, ever since people existed, they've been doing witchcraft against me. So, it makes my life very awkward, because anyone who enters into this world has to come into this world as a young child. And, I've been attacked ever since. It's just it's always an ongoing thing. It's always it's never stopped ever since I was born. So I do what I can. We're living in the age of people who call themselves social media influencers, which is interesting because, these people, what they do is they post all their garbage on social media, and, people think of it as them influencing everybody that follows them, right? In terms of, things like what they talk about, or what they wear, or the pictures they take, or the things they say. But I'm the real social media influencer. It's that I'm the one doing real magic. I'm doing alchemy. I'm breaking spells. I'm doing magic and spell work stuff. And I don't have any, my Facebook page and my X page. I mean, I think on my X page I got like 3 followers now. I don't know who they are. I think they're just some like AI controlled accounts or something like that. I don't even know. They don't even look genuine. They don't look like real people. And on Facebook, I think I've got 0. I think people spy on me from time to time, but the fact is that it's all public, so anyone can look at it. But my main point is to do magic with the things that I post. It's like, I understand how magic energy is. It moves from one idea to another, and how it can be manipulated, and how to create art from art. Using other people's art and then making it into a new art form of, kind of like how a DJ, like a DJ will have lots of tunes, and he mixes them together using various methods, right? Well, it's sort of similar. It's kind of similar. But it's more about ideas, and it can be all kinds of stuff. But it's basically just showing. It demonstrates how magic, if you look very carefully at it, you can see how magic is working. You have to have a very sharp, you need to have eyes to see that. You need to have eyes that are open to see that. You won't see it otherwise. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know how long this video is going to be. It's been almost 25 minutes. I'm feeling really hungry. I've had a few absinthe. Whew, that stuff is strong. It really is. It's very potent stuff. Yikes. And I'm getting the booze munchies. So I think I might get some food. I've got got a bag of tortilla chips, and I got 2 tubs of hummus. I've got a strange thing for hummus, and I use that as my dip. Go for a whole tub of hummus. And I got some curry as well. Might have some curry. I need to go to bed soon. Actually, I'm feeling pretty tired. What's the time anyway? Yeah, it's about 20 to 4 in the morning. So, yeah. Ooh. My eyes are starting to feel a bit sore. Ooh. I feel like I banged my head. Whew. So, it's interesting, isn't it, how all this shit's happening with the global IT outage. It's very interesting to me because I know what's really going on. It's very hard to convey what I understand and what I see. I try very hard. The fact is that trying to get anyone to listen to the most, do you know what I mean? Like, people lose interest so quick. They really do. It's like they don't want to listen. They don't want to know. And that's the thing, right? Because here's an example, right? Jesus said, we do not wrestle against flesh and blood. We fight against the evil in high places. Okay? So, and that's the thing. If nobody understands me, I'm God, right? I'm God. And I'm God, right? So if people do not understand me, then where are they? They've elevated themselves so they're standing above me. So they're not understanding me, they must be overstanding me. Do you understand? No? You understand? Tower of Babel. Yeah. Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel. Yeah? You understand? Huh? You get it? Huh? Do you know? How does one explain such things? How does one explain? How does one explain? How does one explain? Anyways, look, I'm gonna leave it there because I've got to get some food. Catch you later.